Hello, my dear friends. I am going to take the next lecture in the series of clocks and triple five timer circuits. So, today we'll be talking about the clocks, how the clock circuits is going to be prepared, and it design the clock waveforms. The clock waveforms can be derived. Now, TTL clock. What is the meaning of TTL clock? Clock frequency. The characteristic of the clock frequency already you have studied. What are the three important characteristics of the clock frequency? Absolute level stability. When it is low, it requires to be 0 volt. When it is going to be high, it requires to be plus 5 volt. And it should be absolutely stable when it is going to be high or when it is going to be low. This is the first characteristic. Second characteristic is deal with the transition time. When it is changing from low to high, then it is changing from 10% to 90%. The amount of time is known as a T rise time, and similarly from changing from 90% to 10% amount of time it takes, it is called T fall time. This transition time should be 0 ideally, but if it is shorter and shorter, that way that clock frequency is better and better. Third important thing is stability, that is frequency stability. For a short term stability and for long term stability is required. These clock waveforms can be prepared from 555 timer also. It can be prepared using TTL clock also. Now, how it can be prepared using the TTL clock? TTL means transistor transistor logic family. And in that one, there is a IC 7404 is hex inverter. Hex means 6 NOT gate are contained in this IC. Using this IC, we can prepare a TTL clock. This particular NOT gate, it is nothing but one kind of common emitter configurations, where there are two type of the input you are giving, either it is going to be low or it is going to be high, and accordingly output is inverted. When input is low, the output will be high. When the input is high, the output will be low. That way this kind of circuit is operating in saturation and cutoff only. Now, using these two ICs, two gates of this ICs, that means two inverter, one inverter, common emitter configurations, that means two inverter, there is a 180 degree plus 180 degree, 360-degree phase shift will be there between the input signal and output signal. And this is the requirement for any oscillator circuit. Oscillator circuit require positive feedback. That means either the phase difference should be 0 or 360-degree between the input and output waveforms, and that can be provided by the two common emitter configuration, and that way we can utilize this TTL circuit as a oscillator circuit which will oscillate from low and high, or it will provide a rectangular waveforms, either clock waveform or a square waveforms. So we'll be starting with the TTL clock. A 7404 hexadecimal inverter can be used to construct an excellent TTL compatible clock as shown in the figure 7.8. This clock circuit is well known and widely used. Two inverters are used to construct a two-stage amplifier with an overall phase shift of 360-degree between pin number 1 and pin number 6, that we will see in the circuitry. This, this is the TTL clock circuitry. You can see that this is one inverter. Pin number 1 is the input, pin number 2 is the output. There is another inverter of the same IC of 7404 we are going to utilize, which is having 5 number input and 6 number output. So these two inverters, they are common emitter and configurations, they are connected in series, and that way 360-degree phase shift is derived, and that way it will work as an oscillator. Part of the pin number 6, that is output, is fed back to the input through the crystal. Crystal is a set of any frequency between 1 megahertz to 20 megahertz, and that means the output part of the output signal is fed back to the input of this first amplifier, and that way the output is in phase with the input, and then the oscillation is going to be start. This amplifier and this amplifier are AC coupled with 0.01 microfarad capacitor. That means DC from this output is going to be blocked, only AC will go to the next amplifier, and required feedback is going to be possible. This is the third inverter circuit of the same IC is going to be utilized as a buffer amplifier. That means it will buffering between the oscillator circuit and rest of the load circuit, so that the rest of the load circuit will not be loaded. Here output of the circuit is driving a 100 pf capacitor and 330 ohms as a load resistance, so that output is maintained at a constant load. This way this TTL clock circuit is going to be produced. Now we will see that how this circuit is working. That means what is the use of this R1 330 ohms, which is connected between output of this pin number 2 to the input of the pin number 1. This is working as an amplifier, which is a current to voltage amplifier. That means change in the current in the input will produce a change in the output voltage at the output. Now, and this gain of this amplifier is equal to V upon A. The portion of the signal, we will go through this slide also. Then a portion of the signal at pin number 6 is fed back by means of crystal to the pin number 1, and the circuit oscillates at a frequency determined by the crystal. So depending upon the crystal frequency, which may be vary whichever crystal you have selected, between 1 megahertz to 20 megahertz, accordingly the output frequency is going to be generated. Since the feedback element is a crystal, the frequency of oscillation is very stable. Here how the oscillation works. That means crystal is working oscillator. So this will provide a more stable oscillator, and hence the output frequency is going to be very stable is there. For short term stability and for long term stability, we normally utilize the crystal oscillator. Inverter 1 has 330 ohms feedback resistor R1 connected from output pin number 2 to the input pin number 1. This forms a current to voltage amplifier with a gain of A1 is equal to minus V0 upon II, and that is equal to minus R1. In this case, the gain of is A1 is equal to minus 330 volt per ampere, which is negative sign shows that 180 degree of the phase shift is going to be there. For instance, an increase in 1 milliampere in input current, it will cause a negative going voltage of 1 milliampere into 330 is equal to 330 millivolt at V0 as negative going output voltage. That means input current is positive going signal, the output voltage will be the negative going signal will be there. Inverter 2 is also identical. Inverter 2 is connected exactly as inverter 1. Its gain is equal to A2 is equal to minus R2. We have selected R1 and R2 both are equal of 330 ohms. That means gain of both the amplifier are 330 is there. The two amplifiers are AC coupled with 0.01 microfarad capacitor to form an amplifier that has an overall gain A is equal to, because they are connected in cascade, the gain is going to be product of both the amplifier, that means A1 into A2, and that is equal to R1 into R2. Notice that the overall gain has a positive sign, because both the negative sign will be cancelled out here and it is going to be positive sign. That means there is a 360 degree phase is going to be provided between output pin number 6 to the input pin number 1. So the overall gain A is equal to minus 330 into minus 330, that is equal to 1.09 into 10 raised to 5 volt per ampere. For instance, An increase of 45 microampere at the II will result in a positive going voltage of 5 volt at pin number 6 of the inverter 2. So, from the gain and requirement of the output voltage. So, output voltage is normally required 0 to 5 volt, because when we are dealing with the TTL circuit, the input should be low, that is 0 volt, and input should be high, that is going to be 5 volt. That means the input swing or the output of the oscillator should be changing from 0 to 5 volt. Corresponding to that, there should be change in the current, that is requirement of the change in the current is only 45 microampere. So, 45 microampere input current changes will result a 5.0 volt at the pin number 6 of the inverter 2. Now, if a portion of the signal at pin number 6 is fed back to the pin number 1, it will augment, that means it will feedback, positive feedback, and the circuit will oscillate. A series mode crystal is used at the feedback element to return a portion of signal at pin number 6 to the pin number 1. The crystal act as series RLC circuit, and at resonance it ideally appears as a low resistance element with no phase shift. So, you have studied already RLC circuit as a series resonance as well as in a parallel resonance. You know that in a series resonance, what is happening? When the reactance are cancelled, that means XL is equal to XC, 1 upon omega C is equal to omega L, then the resonance will be occurred and they will cancel out the reactance. And in the circuit, only the resistance will be there, and because that resistance is going to be minimum, the output signal and input signal with no phase shift, but the current is going to be the maximum at the time because the resistance in the circuit is going to be minimum. And that way, this series RLC circuit is required, and the crystal is acting like series RLC circuit. The feedback signal must therefore be at resonance, and the two inverter in conjunction with the crystal form an oscillator operating at a crystal resonant frequency. So, whatever resonant frequency of the crystal, that is the output frequency of this oscillator will be there. With the feedback element connected, the overall gain is sufficient to drive each inverter between saturation and cutoff, and the output signal is a periodic waveform as shown in the figure 7.8. Typically, the output clock signal will transition between 0 and plus 5 volt will have rise and fall times of less than 10 nanosecond and will be essential a square wave. So, what is output you are getting? Output we are getting a perfectly square wave, which is having a rise and fall time less than 10 nanosecond. That means we are generating a very good clock waveforms. The frequency of this clock signal determined by the crystal and the value between 1 and 20 megahertz are common. Inverter 3 is used as output buffer amplifier and is capable of driving a load of 330 ohms in parallel with 100 pf while still providing rise and fall times of less than 10 nanosecond. So, even connecting after buffer amplifier and which is driving a load of 330 ohms in parallel with 100 pf, the clock waveform will be having rise and fall time less than 10 nanosecond. Now, we will study the example related with this TTL clock. A TTL clock circuit as shown in the figure 7.8 is said to provide a 5 megahertz clock frequency with stability better than 5 parts per million over a 24-hour time period. What are the frequency limit of the clock? That means this TTL clock, which is providing a 5 megahertz clock frequency, that means crystal is having a resonant frequency of 5 megahertz and its stability is prescribed, that is its stability is better than 5 parts per million. So, per million frequency, that is going to be 10 lakhs frequency. The frequency is varying plus or minus 5 hertz over a 24-hour time period. Then what are the frequency limits of the clock? Solution. Stability of 5 parts per million means that 1 megahertz clock will have a frequency of 10 lakhs plus or minus 5 hertz. So this clock will have a frequency of 50 lakhs plus or minus 25 hertz over any 24 hours periodic time. That means from 50 lakhs plus 25 hertz or 50 lakhs minus 25 hertz, in that range only it can be varied, and that way this frequency stability is achieved very good for 25 hours, that means for a short term stability. Now the next topic is propagation delay time. What is propagation delay time? Propagation delay TP is the time between a positive transition or a negative transition at the input of a digital circuit and resulting change at the output. So, input of the circuit you are going to trigger either with the positive edge trigger or it is a negative edge trigger, and depending upon that the circuit will respond and output is going from one state to another state. Now amount of time it takes from going from one state to another state, that means output is changing from low to high or a high to low, then that amount of time is called a propagation delay time. For all practical purposes, the time difference between 50% level of the input and corresponding output waveforms is used to calculate a propagation delay time. So this way the circuit is shown that this is any LS access series, that means 7400 series, but low power Schottky TTL is there. Input is Vi. If you are changing the input, input is going to be changing from low to high. You can see this waveform. Input is changing from low to high, that means it makes a transition from low to high. This is the waveform for the output. Output is not resulted at the same instant, but output is changing from low to high after some times. So this period, that means the difference of this period between the input is changing and output is changing from low to high, this period is called TPLH. That means propagation time when the output is changing from low to high. That is called TPLH, rising time of the output. And similarly, when output is changing, input is changing from high to low, that means on the next transition, when negative transition is taking place, maybe the circuit is responding and circuit output is also changing from high to low, but it is not changing from high to low at the same time, but it will be delayed after certain times, and that time is also known as the propagation delay time, but it is designated as TPHL. TPHL means propagation time when the output is swinging from high to low level. The box in figure 7.4 on the next page represent any TTL logic gate in the 74LS XX family. Notice that the waveform at the output is delayed in time from input waveform. TPLH is the delay time when the output is transitioning from low to high. TPHL is the delay time when the output is transitioning from high to low. At temperature below 75 degrees Celsius, TPHL is only slightly larger than TPLH. That means the fall time is slightly larger than rise time. Rise time is nothing but TPLH. So when the output is changing from low to high, that time may be slightly shorter, but TPHL when the output is changing from high to low is slightly larger at 75 degree below 75 degrees Celsius. But they are almost equal and we consider them to be same. For 74LS access devices, we will simply assume they are equal, and for simplicity, let's define the propagation delay time. TP is equal to TPLH is almost equal to TPHL. The Texas Instrument data box gives a typical value of TP 9 nanosecond for 74LS access devices. That means the Texas Instrument who invented this TTL series has given a typical value for low power Schottky TTL series, that propagation delay time is of 9 nanoseconds for almost 74LS access devices. For comparison with the CMOS series, the high-speed CMOS series has slightly longer delay time. In CMOS series also, there are various CMOS series is there, and one of them is the highest high-speed CMOS is there. And for example, 74HC04 inverter has TP is equal to 24 nanoseconds, which is typical. So even in high-speed CMOS series, the propagation delay time is greater than, or it is higher than, you can consider 74 or TTL series. Now, example related with this. 7.2. The total propagation delay time through a 74HC04 inverter is known to be 24 nanoseconds. What is the maximum clock frequency that can be used with the device? Solutions. An alternative way of posing the question is this: how fast can we inverter operate? With what maximum frequency this inverter can be operated in CMOS series? So that limit of the frequency we have to find out. So that will decide the speed of operation of the circuit. Remember, the circuit must complete any change of the state within one clock cycle time. So the clock cycle time is greater than or equal to Tp. So the clock cycle time should be always greater than or must be at least equal to the clock Tp, propagation delay time. So the maximum clock frequency is then the frequency is equal to 1 upon Tp, that is equal to 1 upon 24 into 10 raised to minus 9 second, that is equal to 41.7 megahertz. So this circuit can operate maximum up to 41.7 megahertz frequency only. So related with this lecture, the assignment I have already given here itself. You have to write this assignment and you have to upload this assignment. Now instead of quiz, you have to upload this assignment regarding this lecture. And the assignment is like this, question is like this. The first question, explain the meaning of positive age trigger and negative age trigger. Second question, what is the dynamic input indicator? Third question, what is the logic symbol for input sensitive to negative transition? Fourth question, why must the crystal in figure 7.8 be a series mode and not a parallel mode? Because we require input to be changed is the current and not the voltage. If input is supposed to be changed the voltage, then it should be parallel mode crystal is required. But here the input, the amplifier is current to voltage amplifier, so we require series mode RLC crystal. Are the 100 pf and 330 ohms load resistance necessary? Yes, absolutely. It requires so that output is not going to be loading. Loading effect will not be there and the rise and fall time less than 9 nanoseconds is going to be maintained. Thank you very much, friends.